So if you're watching this video, you're probably looking to open the key. What key? The opening of the key. That's right, I used a preposition to specify the key, which is now the object of our opening instead of what is expected to be the means, which means the means is the object of our opening. So, Interferus writes, "Hello, I've been watching your Thoth Tarot content for a while, and your videos help me comprehend the Thoth deck more and expand my practice." Sweet, thank you, yay! But I have a question for you. What do you think about the actual practice of divination with it? Do you think that using the operations Crowley wrote in the Book of Thoth is necessary, or do you use your personal methods? It is a complex topic, and I would love to hear your opinions about it. Such a good question. So after going through the very deep, very cosmic, and sometimes frustratingly tenuous concepts throughout all the 78 cards of the tarot, Crowley finally tells you how to use them on page 249 of the Book of Thoth. Now this process, which is called opening of the key, I believe originated with the Golden Dawn, and I believe it was first invented by MacGregor Mathers, but I may be wrong. This process takes the querent through 5 operations to show them what the hell is up. What makes this method unique and kind of separates it from most modern tarot methods is that the reading is actually based on the relationships with the cards. Kind of like Lenormand, but almost even more complicated. Every single card shows up because of its relationship to another card, besides maybe the significator. These relationships are created through 3 major ways. One is elemental dignities, another is card counting, and card pairing. And based on how the cards show up and what they are around, will kind of give you the content of the reading. There's also 5 steps to this bad boy, so you're kind of like doing 5 separate different readings, but all in one reading. I've also read that this method can be used to make contact with your holy guardian angel, which is one of the major goals when you join a lot of the Western mystery schools. But now that we have some background on this bad boy, let's get into that question, is it necessary? Now, as a Capricorn sun, I'm going to say it is necessary for the result that you want, and it's based on your intention and what you're using tarot for. To be completely honest with you, in my 20 years of professional reading experience, I have maybe used this technique, and I'll be honest, I'm actually using it more with clients now because I'm teaching it in my Thoth Tarot Master Course, and I'm just kind of interested in it more than usual. But normally I find it to be overkill for professional readings and events and stuff. However, I have had my students tell me that when they've used it for their clients and their friends, it was actually really successful and really impressive too. And it makes sense because it's a very impressive method. Like, you're spreading the cards out, you're moving them around, you bring them back in, you put them in different piles. It's kind of cool. So is it necessary for professional readings? I would say no. Now, is it necessary for personal readings, reading for yourself? That also depends on your intention, your vibe, and what you want to get out of the tarot. If you're looking to hit up your holy guardian angel for advice, I would say hell yeah, go for it, experiment with it. If you're looking for a longer session with lots of layers, self-reflection, make a whole vibe with it, bring it into your self-care, I think that opening of the key is great. It's multiple processes, and then you see relationships between different cards, and you can see really the whole constellation of what's going on in a given circumstance. And that's actually its biggest strength, is you can get the gist of what's going on, but you can kind of zoom in on any one card and see what the patterns are around it, and kind of see the motivations behind people, things, events, and energy as they are oriented towards you. And lastly, I'm going to tie this into the Thoth deck itself. So is it necessary to use opening of the key, Crowley's methods at the end of the book, with this specific deck? I would say, again, generally it's up to you. There's really no rules with tarot, but because the Thoth deck is such a specific thing, I would recommend at least exploring it, because that way you will be using the tarot in the way that Crowley at least publicly intended it to be used. Now, there's kind of an inverse relationship between the opening of the key and the rest of the Book of Thoth. Now, let me explain this. So the Book of Thoth goes into every card and goes very deeply into the cards, especially the major arcana. And, you know, there's Kabbalah, there's astrology, there's Crowley's own weird references, there's Parsifal, there's sex magic, there's 0=2. It's a lot of philosophical stuff. But when you get to the opening of the key, because you're using so many cards, and more specifically using the relationships between those cards, you actually only use like 1% of the information that this book has on each card when using the opening of the key. So let's say, for example, the Chariot card. You're doing opening of the key, and maybe you're looking into career and life purpose. The Chariot card shows up with your significator in the fire pile, the Yod pile. You spread the cards out, and there's the Chariot, the first card after your significator card, and that's saying, great, a major conquest. But that card is leading to the next card, which is the Lust card. So it's already in relationship to the Lust card, and then the string continues. So you're looking at the whole string of cards and the story that they create, which kind of stops you from really digging into the Chariot and all of its esoteric symbolism. Not only that, but each card is directly affected by the two cards adjacent to it. So if the Chariot, for example, is surrounded by the Seven of Wands and that Prince of Wands, that's going to really lower that watery energy of the Chariot and make it less significant in the reading. Because of this, I find that you don't really get to get into any one card very much in depth with the opening of the key, but because it's really about their relationship to the other cards. Almost like Lenormand has a very specific meaning based on what it's next to. Because of that, I have adopted my own methods with the deck depending on what I want to do. For example, I was going through a phase when I would just read a couple cards, one card, maybe 3 cards in a reading, and just talk for a long ass time. Now, when I was younger, I thought that was cool because I thought that's what actually made people psychic, but that's not really the case. But anyway, I did it, and I got some really amazing readings. I would just sit with a card, go into it, and let the messages come, and that was awesome. And I got to pull from all my Kabbalistic, astrological, esoteric, and non-esoteric information. The opening of the key, on the other hand, takes the esoteric systems we love so much, astrology, Kabbalah, the elements, and brings it into the actual method, the actual technique, the way you place the cards down, the way you derive meaning. And if anyone's interested in studying these topics more deeply, I do have a free Thoth Tarot instant reading guide, which will be linked down below or wherever this ends up in the Phantom Show of Time and Space. I also run an online international school called the Tarot Mysticism Academy, which is becoming more and more my favorite thing to do. The international community is amazing. A bunch of mystical misfits, geniuses, students, readers, professionals, and deck creators. And we all come together and learn about stuff. My name is Joe Monteleone. Thank you for touring the teleology of tarot with me in this fun video, and I will see you in another wormhole. Much love.